The year 2025 is a significant year for the whole world. Commemorating the 70th anniversary of the founding of Taekwon Do, one of the most superior martial arts with the longest history throughout the world, what we are thinking about and picturing to ourselves. To answer the question, it's needed to look back upon the process of the founding of Taekwon Do and its historical meanings. Today, when we think of Taekwon Do, we could say it's a kind of learning with meaning and aspiration, rather than techniques merely cultivating power. There are 24 patterns in Taekwon Do, including Chunji, Dangun, Dosan, etc., that constitute an integral system and tell of the events and incidents that took place in the national history of Korea and during the whole period, ranging from the origin of the earth to the modern times. They also teach us the truth and lessons that are not to be forgotten. The truth and lessons taught by the 24 patterns, including Pattern Chunji, describing the formation of the heaven and the earth, Pattern Dangun, telling the birth of Korean nation, and Pattern Dosan, meaning that without ability, a nation cannot defend the destiny of its own, are the ones that should be adhered to and treasured by the contemporaries as a compass for their life. Taekwon Do not only cultivates people's physical abilities, but also gives the principles that men should follow. Here lies the reason why Taekwon Do attracts a specific attention from the people all over the world. In fact, the attempt to combine the techniques with a sense of justice and truth in the circle of martial arts had been made from the very first stage of emergence of martial arts. However, there were no martial arts that successfully combined the techniques with moral cultivation. It is only the original Taekwon Do that solved this problem, and for this, Taekwon Do enjoys the worldwide recognition as a modern martial art, as a true learning that imbues the justice and truth and cultivates power. Then here's a question. How could Taekwon Do come to illuminate the problems of moral cultivation that had not been solved for a long time in the circle of martial arts and make continuous progress on its own road of development? In order to have a clear answer to the question, we need to review the historical roots of the national martial arts of Korea, circumstances around the founding of Taekwon Do and its development. National martial arts of Korea were born in such circumstances to realize the harmony, unity, and love between and for the country, nation, and people. And this has been handed down without a break through 5,000 years of national history as the traditions for national martial arts. The spirit of devoted love, spirit of sacrificing their own life for the country and nation, constituted the very core of the spirit of the national martial arts of Korea, and this spirit made it possible for the powerful techniques specific to the Korean nation to be created. The Korean people love the martial arts, born with the foundation of Dangun Korea more than any other sports, and took a pride of learning it, since it was created in a spirit of love for the country and nation. The national martial arts of Korea not only guaranteed the right to existence and development of Korean people in the history of the nation and to the blooming of the culture of martial arts, but also made a positive contribution for the Korean people to keep a diligent and strong nature of never yielding to the injustice as the specific national character. But even the martial arts that once defended the so strong and so great a nation had no other choice but to succumb to those who emerged as a power as a result of the development of capitalism in the modern ages. However, after the World War II, when those who had considered the strength almighty, who had ignored the weak, and who hadn't held respect for men, were subjected to the historical defeats, the national martial arts of Korea came to have the historical environment and conditions to revive. Meanwhile, General Cho Hong-hee, though of weak physique, but with a strong sense of justice, perceived such environment and conditions for the revival of the national martial arts, carried on his studies of it, and finally named the newly founded martial arts as Taekwon Do. On April 11, 1955, Taekwon Do was born with such historical roots in such environment and circumstances. The original Taekwon Do is theoretically systematized to make the weak stronger, to lead the strong to a rightful way, and technically it embodies the theories of modern science. Since Taekwon Do was founded on the basis of the noble sense of morality, wisdom and talents characteristic to the Korean nation, it won universal sympathy and started to be spread on a wide scale. It enjoys the eternal life and takes a secure place in people's life and is loved by all. In any country throughout the world, one can easily see people practicing Taekwon Do, which is making its progress while vitalizing the people's moral and cultural life. The founding of Taekwon Do not only has made a positive contribution to the development of national martial arts and to the building of the civilized world, but also exerted great influence upon the history of international martial arts movements. The historical environments where developments are made with each national state as a unit saw to it that the developments of martial arts were made in accordance with the national characteristics. Nations, having the time-honored history of their own martial arts, whose developments had been suppressed, came to realize the ways to develop their own martial arts, and this propelled the new development of and greatly transformed the international martial arts movement. Over 400 types of martial arts are said to exist in the current world. The founding and development of Taekwon Do hold great historical significance and create the environment of mutual respect and benefits, harmony and cooperation. Looking back upon the founding and development of Taekwon Do on the occasion of its 70th anniversary, we learn another truth which is not to be forgotten, but to be kept in mind. The truth is that, just like a flower should be planted in rich soil for healthy and beautiful growth, Taekwon Do should also be firmly footed in its motherland in order to be prosperous and flourishing. At the time of birth, there were only 2 patterns in Taekwon Do, but the number of patterns increased to 20 in 1966 when the ITF was founded, and to 24 in 1974, just like today. However, all these technical and theoretical treasures had to go through the twists and turns because they had been thrown to the infertile land. In addition, the dark powers that mimic Taekwon Do viciously attempted to dilute its nature and check its advance. The trials that Taekwon Do would undergo tell us of the truth that without the true bosom embracing it, it can neither defend nor improve its image. It was only from the moment when Taekwon Do was embraced in the bosom of the benevolent motherland that it could open up the era of its prosperity. Hence, it can now greet its 70th birth anniversary, realize its ideals and dreams, and perfect its technical and theoretical systems. Comrade Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, the great leaders of the Korean people, deeply concerned for the development of Taekwon Do, took state-level measures for publication of Taekwon Do encyclopedias and for the worldwide spread of Taekwondo. Thanks to the devoted efforts of the great leaders, the new era of great prosperity for the national martial arts was opened up for the first time in the 5,000-year-long history of the Korean nation, and a positive contribution has been made to the building of the civilized world. If Taekwondo was not embraced in the bosom of the motherland, we couldn't think about today's Taekwondo. The motherland of Taekwondo has not only made it possible to theoretically and technically perfect Taekwondo, but also given great proportion to the fresh development of the international martial arts movement by setting a precious example in maintaining and spreading the national martial arts with the longest history in the world. The holy place of Taekwondo, built in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is showing to the entire humankind, including not only the Taekwondoists but also all other martial artists, how we should maintain and develop the oldest learning created by mankind. Today, the original Taekwondo is advancing without a break along the road of its own development, providing people with the beautiful and noble dreams. The aspiration and ideals of Taekwondo for a peaceful and harmonious world full of happiness will make the humankind loftier and our future better.